The story of Kenyan coffee is a tale of two worlds colliding. It's a story of a plant, far from its origins, finding fertile ground in the highlands of East Africa. It's also a story deeply entwined with the colonial history of Kenya, beginning in the late 19th century. Before the arrival of the British, coffee was unknown in Kenya. The land, however, possessed the perfect conditions for its cultivation. The first coffee seeds arrived in Kenya not directly from its native Ethiopia, but rather through a circuitous route via the island of Réunion. It was the French missionaries on the island who first cultivated coffee, and it was from them that the British acquired the seeds that would eventually find their way to Kenya. The journey of coffee to Kenya mirrors the movements of people and ideas during this period of global exploration and colonization. It serves as a reminder of the interconnected nature of our world and the often unseen journeys that everyday items have taken. In the hands of the British colonists, coffee was seen not just as a beverage, but as a cash crop with the potential to transform the Kenyan landscape and economy. Little did they know then they were setting in motion a chain of events that would shape the destiny of a nation and create a globally renowned coffee industry. The highlands of Kenya, with their volcanic soils and temperate climate, would soon become synonymous with some of the finest coffee in the world. The British, eager to capitalize on the potential of Kenyan soil, established vast coffee plantations in the cool highlands. These large estates, many carved out of traditional Kikuyu lands, became the engine of coffee production in the early 20th century. The British brought with them their knowledge of coffee cultivation, establishing strict standards and introducing new processing techniques. They sought to replicate the success of other coffee-producing colonies, envisioning Kenya as a key supplier to the growing global demand for the caffeinated brew. Life on these plantations was a stark contrast to the traditional agricultural practices of the Kikuyu people. The introduction of a cash crop economy disrupted existing social structures and led to the displacement of many indigenous communities from their ancestral lands. The British demand for labour on these sprawling plantations led to the implementation of exploitative labour systems, further entrenching the power dynamics of the colonial era. The aroma of coffee, while enticing to the outside world, carried with it the bitter tang of injustice for many Kenyans. Despite the hardships faced by the local population, the coffee industry in Kenya flourished under British management. Railways were built to transport the beans to the coast for export, and Nairobi, a once sleepy Maasai village, transformed into a bustling colonial capital, fueled in part by the burgeoning coffee trade. The success of Kenyan coffee was a testament to the fertile lands and favourable climate, but it also came at a significant human cost, a legacy that continues to cast a shadow over the industry today. The winds of change that swept across Africa in the mid-20th century brought about a profound transformation in Kenya's coffee industry. With the country's independence in 1963 came a new era for coffee farmers. Large colonial estates, once symbols of British dominance, were gradually subdivided and redistributed to smallholder farmers, many of whom had toiled for generations under colonial rule. This shift marked a turning point, empowering local communities and giving them a stake in the future of Kenyan coffee. The transition from large estates to smallholder farms was not without its challenges. Many of these new farmers lacked the capital and technical expertise needed to maintain the high quality of Kenyan coffee. To address these challenges, coffee cooperatives emerged, providing smallholder farmers with access to essential resources, training, and collective bargaining power. These cooperatives, often community-based and democratically run, played a crucial role in supporting the livelihoods of smallholder farmers and ensuring the continued success of Kenyan coffee on the global stage. The rise of smallholder coffee farming in Kenya had a profound impact on rural communities. As farmers gained greater control over their livelihoods, they were able to invest in their families and communities, improving access to education, healthcare, and infrastructure. The shift to smallholder farming also had environmental benefits. Unlike the large monoculture plantations of the colonial era, smallholder farms often incorporated shade trees and intercropping methods, promoting biodiversity and soil health. The success of smallholder coffee farming in Kenya stands as a testament to the resilience, ingenuity, and hard work of its people. Section 4. A land of varied bounty exploring Kenya's coffee heartlands. Kenya's reputation for exceptional coffee is deeply rooted in its terroir, the unique combination of soil, climate, and altitude that gives each region its distinct flavor profile. Journey across the Kenyan highlands and you'll discover a diverse tapestry of coffee-growing regions, each with its own story to tell. In the shadow of Mount Kenya, you'll find Nyeri, a region renowned for its intensely flavorful beans, bursting with notes of blackcurrant and citrus. The rich volcanic soils and high altitude of Nyeri create ideal conditions for slow-maturing beans, resulting in a complex and deeply satisfying cup. Further south, in the rolling hills of Kiambu, coffee farms dot the landscape, producing beans known for their balanced acidity and full body. Kiambu, one of the first regions where coffee was planted by the British, boasts a long and storied history of coffee cultivation. Its proximity to Nairobi also makes it a hub for coffee trading and processing. Venturing west, you'll reach Kirinyaga, a region where coffee farms cling to the slopes of Mount Kenya, producing beans with a winey acidity and pronounced berry flavors. The high rainfall and fertile red volcanic soils of Kirinyaga contribute to the unique flavor profile of its coffee. These are just a few of the many coffee-producing regions that contribute to Kenya's rich tapestry of flavors. From the slopes of Mount Elgon to the Aberdare Range, each region offers a unique taste of Kenya, reflecting the diversity of its terroir and the dedication of its coffee farmers. As you sip a cup of Kenyan coffee, take a moment to appreciate the journey it has taken. From the volcanic soils of the highlands to your cup, each bean carries with it the story of a land and its people. Section 5. The beans bite economic realities and a changing climate. While coffee paints a vibrant picture of Kenyan life, it's important to acknowledge the economic realities faced by those who grow it. Coffee is a vital cash crop for Kenya, contributing significantly to its export earnings and supporting the livelihoods of millions of smallholder farmers. However, the global coffee market is notoriously volatile, subject to price fluctuations that can leave farmers vulnerable to economic hardship. The vagaries of international markets, coupled with the rising costs of production, pose significant challenges for Kenyan coffee farmers. In recent years, climate change has emerged as a major threat to coffee production in Kenya and around the world. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall patterns, and the increased prevalence of pests and diseases are all taking a toll on coffee yields. These challenges are forcing farmers to adapt, adopting climate-smart agricultural practices such as drought-resistant varieties, water conservation techniques, and shade management. The resilience and adaptability of Kenyan coffee farmers are being tested like never before. Despite these challenges, the spirit of innovation and collaboration is strong within Kenya's coffee industry. From government initiatives to support smallholder farmers, to the work of research institutions developing climate-resilient coffee varieties, there is a collective effort to ensure the long-term sustainability of Kenyan coffee. The future of Kenyan coffee depends on finding ways to mitigate the impacts of climate change, ensure fair prices for farmers, and promote sustainable farming practices. Section 6. Brewing, a legacy cultural exchange and the future of Kenyan coffee. The story of Kenyan coffee is ultimately a story of cultural exchange and adaptation. It's a story of a plant that journeyed across continents, finding a new home in the highlands of East Africa. It's a story of a nation that embraced coffee, transforming it from a colonial commodity into a source of pride and identity. The British may have introduced coffee to Kenya, but it was the Kenyan people who made it their own. Today, Kenyan coffee is celebrated around the world for its quality and flavor, but it's also important to remember the human story behind each cup. The legacy of British colonialism continues to shape the coffee industry in Kenya, but it's a legacy that is constantly being challenged and reshaped by the resilience and ingenuity of the Kenyan people. As we look to the future, it's essential to support the sustainable development of Kenya's coffee industry, ensuring that the benefits of this valuable crop are shared equitably among all those involved in its production. The journey of Kenyan coffee is far from over. It's a journey that continues to evolve with each harvest, reflecting the changing landscape, the resilience of its people, and the global demand for this beloved beverage. As you savor your next cup of Kenyan coffee, take a moment to appreciate the rich history and cultural heritage that went into producing it. From the slopes of Mount Kenya to your cup, Kenyan coffee is a testament to the enduring power of human connection and the enduring allure of a perfectly brewed cup.